Hello, my name is Francis Fox. I'm a galactic shaman, which means I know the basic laws of planet Earth, the ones that you can't break because you will pay a consequence, regardless of what country or how much money is in your bank account. And I know a little bit about the laws in terms of the galaxy, a little bit, but enough to make something of a difference, especially for those who don't know anything at all and are still wrestling with whether aliens exist, etc. This is a chat that's converted into a podcast. It's on Apple and also on Spotify. So if you like it, you should recommend it. You can also find it on my both my YouTube channels, English and Spanish. Francis Fox Reveals. Okay, what are we going to talk about today? Yesterday's chat was very interesting. Nobody came in the middle of the night to take me down. Still not leaving my house, but I'm still here. So I think that we have an umbrella of protection. We are in Revelations. And I think that this cycle protects those of us that are revealing things, but not to point fingers at bad people, but simply things that need to be revealed so that we can make progress or we're not held back. And then if you have enough of a high enough frequency, there's an added protection in that off planet beings, some which protect countries like the Galactic Federation is protecting Venezuela and also the United States and probably many other countries. I just haven't sketched them. You have extra protection. So it's important to live the truth. You don't have to be a whistleblower. You don't have to be revealing the truth about other things, but you do have to be living your truth. And I was yesterday explaining to the Mantrista movement that when I talk about people being in marriages where they've been forever or where they're not really happy, uh, when I did my research on Alzheimer's, I was shocked to find out that most of the people that have Alzheimer's are really nice people, good people that do not want to upset their families or their mates or their kids. And they stay in situations in which they are not happy. And they consciously choose to stay because they don't want to hurt their loved ones. How do they do that? They compartmentalize their mind, which apparently also affects the brain, according to the surgery they do on Alzheimer's patients. They compartmentalize and they put different compartments. And one of the compartments is what they would like, but they don't dare to even think about it. So they put it in a little box. And that means that the mind and the brain is no longer flowing and it starts to deteriorate, such as any place where you have water that should be flowing and it doesn't flow. And it eventually you end up with problems. Anyway, um, how did I get on the subject of Alzheimer's? Too many people are unhappy today. So, my recommendation is that you look at your life and whatever's making you continuously miserable, you should make choices, changes, because you eventually, at some part of you is going to get sick. You're not going to be as attractive. You're not going to be as interesting. You're not going to be as happy. Uh, I feel that most of the process of aging has to do with an accumulation of bad energy in the other dimensions that affects your physical body. And as you purify it, you can end up looking younger because that aged you is not there any longer because you took care of it. So finding out, being honest about what it is that makes you happy and what is making you miserable, and maybe has been making you miserable for decades. Um, Finding that out and then being brave enough to say the changes that you want, knowing that it's going to make a lot of people unhappy. You have to be, it's actually, what do they call it? Tough love? Because eventually, as I was telling the Montristas yesterday, everybody that's, from what I saw in my research and what I was told, Alzheimer's is nice people who don't want to make their family loved ones unhappy. So they stay, they stay, they stay, and then a part of them falls asleep. And then at the end, according to medical doctors, Alzheimer's takes down at least two people, the person that has Alzheimer's and the person that has to take care of them. So in the end, the person who chooses to shut down a part of them because they don't want to have to deal with their unhappiness, they want to continue to pretend everything's okay, they're taking down their loved ones anyway. So my recommendation is you look at your life. What is it that's continuously making you crazy, making you unhappy? Have you made any changes? Have you made an attempt? Or do you simply shut down your mind or your emotions? Go back and revisit it because it will probably make a huge difference in your aging process and where you end up towards the end, or maybe tomorrow. Um, I'm having my chat tonight with the Montrista group is on the chaos of the immigration crisis in the United States, which is creating chaos in other countries. The truth of the matter is that the immigration situation was totally out of control. Something needed to happen. Something needed to change. And obviously, it wasn't the individuals that were going to make the change. Whether you or I are in agreement with what Trump did, something had to change, or the country was going to collapse. But then I was like, because somebody sent me an email and she said, I know you said, blah, but we create reality and this is god awful and everybody's in a panic. And I felt bad because it's almost as if I have been promising people that things are going to be just fine. I've never promised that things are going to be just fine. We create our reality. This is a time in which we're supposed to be in a transformation which is chaotic. You can keep a grip on it and even prosper, but you cannot be reacting on what's happening around you. And your frequency has to be high enough that you're not, by law of attraction, attracting to you the chaos. And I remembered that in 1999, I've said it many times, I knew that in the future there would be tremendous chaos. There would be something that would cause a real steep decline in prosperity. So I started a course called Prosperity in the Midst of Chaos. And through the years, I've given classes and courses and mantra sessions. But you know what? I think I was doing it in anticipation of what's going to happen now. Now, 2025. There's no finger pointing, there's no blame. This is as was predicted, as foretold. What I'm bringing to the table is it doesn't have to be like this, which is prophecy is saying where you're going to end up if you continue on the path that you're on. Prophecy is not fact. When something doesn't go according to prophecy, it doesn't mean the prophet was wrong. It means somebody made a change. So when they're talking about the chaos, it doesn't have to be like this. But you can't just sit there and you can't expect that it's going to take care of itself because the path that we've been on brought us here. And if people don't recognize that, it's because they don't want it. They don't want to take the responsibility for what we all created together. So we're going back to prosperity in the midst of chaos in terms of focus and in terms of mantras and in terms of classes. And we'll do that today. But let's go over the map that I drew. Let me say that it is really obvious that I'm being totally controlled in social media. I have a video of the chat I gave yesterday, not a picture, an actual video where the numbers are changing, having to do with views. And then when it comes to likes, the numbers are making also, it's moving to where obviously there's going to be more likes. Then it goes back and it stays where it was before. And from what I see this afternoon, every time I get up on that chat, there's less likes, which is totally impossible. Plus, you cannot put any comments. So anyway, gossip for Francis Fox. Obviously, they're sitting on me. Okay, let's go to the map. I was not able to decipher the entire map, but here we go. This is today, like 5:30 in the afternoon. I really should put the time. The biggest thing is that there's an alien invasion coming in. What is that state? Maine? I think it's Maine or New Hampshire. And we actually had an earthquake there. Not sure it's associated. I have to ask the dolphins about that. Because we didn't find anybody of particular importance who lives near the epicenter of the earthquake that was yesterday. So something else is going on, and I will ask and I will share it. New York, Washington, D.C. area, still green, looks good. Florida, still green, looks good. Gulf of Mexico, the pyramids are coming up. They offer stability. They're green, looking good. There is a spiral in the United States in the center that's counterclockwise, which means a healing, and it's blue. Okay, so blue is communication, counterclockwise is a healing. So communication. And the truth of the matter is that in terms of media, this truth is coming out. This is good. And the throat is the throat chakra. And the throat chakra, we have all said for decades that it's about communication. No, it's not. It's about truth. It's not about it. Communication is what you do with that truth, but we're not truthful in our communication. Socially, we are taught to be liars. How are you doing, Francis? I'm fine. This Cuban mafia is giving me trouble. I'm not being truthful at what I'm going through because it's just not socially acceptable. Who the heck wants to talk to somebody who's miserable all the time? And it's almost like, Francis, get this taken care of. Well, you know what? It's a national issue. It's not. I'm fine. It's okay. You know what? How are you doing today? Okay. How's the job? You know what? I like it. It pays well and I like it. I got good coworkers. And you're sick and tired of it. This is since you're born. You start to cry when you're a baby. A little kid, stop crying. You're bothering people. Stop it. What do you want? Just tell me what you want. Meanwhile, you just have to get this stuff out, not allowed. And then we end up with issues in our truth center, which is our entire throat chakra, which is where we have 5 portals, which are the things, the doorways that spirits use to come in. So we got big problems. So here we have a purification, and it's blue. You can't tell, but it's blue, which is the color of the throat chakra. The truth is getting communicated, creating chaos. We have here that miasm, that blob-like entity, because it's an entity that's from Russia, Bering Straits, Alaska, Canada, and all the way down here. The words I got were deteriorating by the day. What does deteriorating mean? The people get crazed, lots more depression, lots more suicide, a lot more craziness. Just basically a total destruction of humans and a lot of death. So this needs to get addressed. Florida, Washington, New York, looking good. Alien invasion. Who do we talk to? Most people talking about the truth. I was in this secret program, whatever. Never got paid. Volunteered before I was born. I was bred for this program. Literally, not a nice thing. Never compensated. I had power to a certain extent because I was really good. And when you're really good, you get more power than the people that aren't so good. Okay, but that was my power. And I remember discussing with my control and saying, why aren't we giving this information to the public? Do you know what he would say to me all the time? He would say to me, they're not interested. They don't want to think. They just want to sit in front of their TV sets and they want to keep themselves busy while they wait to die. That statement, while they wait to die, is so true for so many people, especially everybody with dementia and Alzheimer's, because they really don't want to be here. That's why part of them left. That's what dementia is. Part of you left. That's what Alzheimer's is. Part of you left. And you didn't leave because you were having fun. So we have an invasion and there's nobody to talk to. I'll talk to the dolphins Maybe while we're doing the mantra and give you the information when we finish with the mantra and ask them what that earthquake was about and what this invasion is about, awfully close together. I don't remember which state is at the top. Is it Maine? Is it New Hampshire? I don't remember. Um, and know that you probably need to ensure that you have the ability to continue to stabilize and to create prosperity, even in the midst of chaos that is coming. Can you do that? Or are you only going to be prosperous when the stock market's high, your money's safe in the bank, and everything is as it used to be when we're in a transformation? And transformations, as I tell my followers, can be really ugly. Maybe that's what we're going to be going through now, is the ugly part of the transformation of this country. But your mind creates reality. So if you can keep your mind with a high enough frequency and pointed towards strong enough so that other things don't influence it, and strong enough to stay focused on prosperity, even in the midst of chaos, you're going to be okay, because your mind does create reality. And the dolphins told me that about 10 years ago, the planet was actually in a collective reality. So everything that happened to everybody else kind of had influence on you. But that from that point, 5 or 10 years ago, why don't I document all these things? I don't know. I didn't. The dolphins said, from here on out, there's no longer a collective reality. There's an individual reality. What does that mean? That regardless of how ugly and chaotic this transformation that we're going through and will be going through, no matter how bad it is, you can still remain prosperous. You better be aligned with your mission. Like Elon Musk, you better be aligned with your mission, because other than that, you're not going to have the subconscious desire to remain working at something that is not filling your heart. So the mantra for that is, please God, help us with our intention to create a miraculously prosperous mission. You have to have the word miraculous, because we have entered an age of superpowers and of miracles, but that we know God did this, you can do them. Doesn't deny God. And the word create, this, we now had the frequency shift. We now can consciously create. Plus, we have access to superpowers, because those were scheduled for this time to be rolled out, not to be rolled out, but to be available. So those two words, miraculous and create, need to be like in all the mantras, which means you have to do sometimes a little bit of, it feels like a little bit of twisting of the words around. And it is taking me longer to get used to the mantra now that I'm doing that. But once I have done enough of them, it smooths out. And it feels like I don't need to do a particular mantra as many times. But we just started to do this last week, so I can't really give you a good report on this. So, where are we at today? Alien invasion. Who do we talk to? There's no department for that. We were giving information on the drones, which is what the Dolphins said. They said the government knows all about that. It was like the first week of that. The government knows, and now they're telling us they were the ones who set this up, reminding us all of the balloon incidents, and it certainly is probably trying to condition us to what's going to be happening from off planet. And you look up, there's something weird there. Oh yeah, that's probably the drones that the government did. And meanwhile, it's not. This invasion is not the government. Now, why are we so weak here? Now, this part of the United States has a portal. Oh, by nature, built-in portal having to do with galactic. This part of the United States has to do with prosperity. So we have a huge spirit in the shape of the blob in our posterity section, and we're being invaded by aliens in the part of us that has to do with relationships, business, family, the part of us that has to do with friends, helpful friends, is this part. And you have Elon Musk, and you have um, Trump as friends, and then you have the group that they have that there's more natural smiles. They seem to be happy, and they don't seem to be like this. Yeah, there's a bit of smugness and whatever. Look, we did it. Blooming idiots, we did it. But there's some level of joy there that's really nice. And this is green, and this is helpful friends section. This is relating the energies of the country to feng shui and the Bagua map that's 3,000 years old. Anyway, let's go ahead and do the mantra for aligning with your prosperous mission. And tomorrow I'll give you a report on what comes back having to do this session we're going to do at 8 o'clock at night. You're welcome to join us. It will be in Spanish, having to do with immigration, which right now, other than saying, I don't have anything to say on it other than saying your intention creates your reality. Your intention has to do with the quality of your mind, the strength of your mind strings, which are electrical 110, which gets killed by microwave, which is what powers all of our wireless devices. So if you're not taking care of radiation, your mind is going to be weak. And holding the intention of being prosperous, even in the midst of chaos, is going to be really difficult. The chaos could be the collapse of banks. It could be the collapse of the stock market, some huge catastrophe in the country. And as I tell my followers, you're supposed to, yes, react to the reality of what's going on. It is part of your world. Discuss it with people, do the usual political gossip and accusations and horrors and everything. And then you're supposed to pull back and take your vitality and use it and focus on your intention to be prosperous in the midst of chaos. You cannot be continuously feeding yourself the bad news. You have to know what's going on if you feel that you need to know what's going on, but that can only be a small percentage of what you focus on. What you focus on needs to be your intention, and you cannot let it go. You need to hang on to it for dear life and keep vitalizing it. And you can't it's not a thought. That's why the mantras are so good, and also the mudras. This is the one that would be the most appropriate. See the way I'm smiling more genuinely, and I'm talking softer and more feminine? Because I got grounded. So this, plus the mantra for being prosperous even in the midst of chaos, is a tool that can keep you afloat and prospering. But you have to be aligned with your mission, because other than that, the waves are going to take you down. And that is one thing that I really like about the people that I see that are coming in to hold these powerful positions. They appear to be happy with what they're doing. And they appear to be happy when they're achieving what they're supposed to be achieving. And that's good. It's good for all of us. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the mantra. Give me a second, because with this new, okay. I feel like I have something from yesterday I need to finish up. Okay, this is the mantra. This is the mantra that seems to make Give me 1 second. I forgot to activate the Facebook channels. This is the mantra that seems to offer the biggest relief quickly, more than any other mantra that I have shared. So why don't you go ahead and feel how you feel about your prosperity right now, or how you feel from 1 to 10, 1 being miserable, 10 being great. Let's put up the white dress, check and see what it looks like. Is it brilliant white and gold, which means that you are aligned with the golden age? Or is it blue and bronze, which means your frequency is low? And even if there's gold right in front of you, you're not going to be able to see it because you're not. It's like being in a building with elevators and there's gold outside of the building. And if you're like in the 3rd floor, there really are no windows that you can't see the gold. It's not there. It's not available. And as you go higher, all of a sudden, there's windows. You can see the gold. It's there. Oh my God, the gold is there. The gold was always there. You just couldn't see it. But not just see, feel. It's not available to you because you're not vibrating at the frequency of that gold. And in the Bible, it's called the city of gold. So the dress is a very good indicator of where you are at in terms of your frequency. Okay, so let's go ahead. Miraculously prosperous mission. Elon Musk is poster boy for the golden age and pre-golden age business. You want gold, literally gold, or enough money to feel like you're golden, or for your life to feel so great it's like golden? Do you want to radiate gold? Then what you do has to be something that is a mission. And what is a mission? When you're doing stuff for other people. And then look at Elon. It's all about other people. And is he the richest man in the world or the second richest? Let me get the music, and then the mantra is done in silence. You expel the breath through your mouth, and that releases all this tension. And remember, in the Bible, it says everything starts with the word. And in Hinduism and in Buddhism and all the other, they say the universe was created through sound, mouth. So when you expel through your mouth, you're releasing and allowing the throat chakra, which is where sound, etc., comes from. You're releasing it to where there's no tension. The channels can all be open. So you can go ahead and start. You can do the Apana Mudra. See the way I start to smile automatically. Put it on top of your thighs. My breathing changes and everything feels better. So you can do this at night if you're under attack. By the way, panic attacks are spirit attacks. So whatever medical doctor came up with the phrase panic attack, why didn't everybody ask him, and what's attacking me? Because nobody asked that question. It's a spirit. If you're having panic attacks, it's actually a little bit of good news in the sense that you're getting attacked by spirits. They want to take you down. That's the bad news. But the good news is they haven't taken you down. You're still panicking. You're still fighting them off. You know how babies, when they're born, for the first 2 or 3 months, 4 months, they have what's called colic, and their stomach, garbage can of emotions, their digestion, they scream at night at 2 o'clock in the morning. Oh, that's when spirits attack and they do black magic. Oh, yeah, okay. After several months, the baby stops screaming in the middle of the night. Why is that? Well, their digestive system matured. No, they were having panic attacks and the spirit was able to come in. Didn't need to create chaos anymore. They're already in. And then they lay there half asleep until the kid is has a big problem or is 13 or 14, da 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 da. I wish that when we ask authorities a question and that they don't really have an answer, that they would simply say that rather than filling in the blanks with their limited knowledge, because it stops everybody from continuing to research and investigate. Okay, here's some music. I still think there's something I wanted to tell you and I didn't remember. Prosperous mission. Let's go with the horses. Okay. How do you feel from 1 to 10? I was talking to the dolphins. I'll tell you what they said right now. Very interesting. And let's get the dress up and see if you see it more gold, more shiny, more white. I certainly do. Wow. Lots of people see it, parts of it with like a pink or lavender veneer over the gold and the white. If you're seeing it blue and bronze, your frequency is low and the golden age will not be available to you yet. It will eventually be available to you, but it will not be available now. So let me tell you what the dolphins said, okay, about the alien invasion. This part I'm not so, but about the earthquake. I asked them about the alien invasion, and they said the Northeast, all the way at the top, is weak. The residents don't really jive with the rest of the East Coast. In other words, it's a different frequency. It's a discrepancy. And I went, really? Is that enough to weaken the etheric, which is the protective grid that the planet has and that you have? It's the etheric body, but of the planet that looks like this, but the shape, obviously, of the planet. And they said, yes, that's enough. Okay, I'm going to let that go because I'm not really vibing with that statement. But many times when the dolphins give me stuff, I feel that, that maybe this time they didn't get it right. And later on, I go back and they did. So I went the earthquake. What with the earthquake? Why the earthquake? We couldn't find a major player there in terms of their home near the epicenter. And they said too much chaos in large industries that, oh God, this is making so much sense now. This is what the dolphin said right now when I asked them about why the chaos that has the epicenter near Maine, I think. You can find it. It was yesterday. So I said, why? What caused the earthquake? Too much chaos in large industries that are fearful of Trump's changes. And then I went, okay, why there? And they said, keep searching and you will find Iron Mountain. Do you know what Iron Mountain is? There's a book called Report from Iron Mountain. Iron Mountain is a location. I think it's in California, but I'm not really sure. And that's not the point. The point is that book, Report from Iron Mountain, there was a meeting there of high-powered people in the United States. I don't remember what year it was. We're talking decades ago. And the meeting was all about what needed to happen to continue to stimulate the prosperity in the United States if there wasn't a war. We know that wars stimulate economies, and we know that Trump doesn't want wars. Well, this is good. That report, I bought the book at a used bookstore. I'm sure it's out of print, but I think you can find it. It's very small. But at the end of the book, if I'm remembering correctly, they were suggesting that we should tell the public that there's an alien invasion, and then that would be the new war. So what the dolphins are telling me when I said, I'll read it again. I said, why the earthquake? Why there? And they said too much chaos in large industries that are fearful of Trump's changes. And then I said, why there? And they said, keep searching and you'll find Iron Mountain, which means yesterday was the earthquake. There must have been some kind of big deal meeting of men, women from large industries, okay, that are really, really angry enough to trigger an earthquake. And that meeting needed to have taken place near that epicenter, right, like right there. So maybe somebody someday will get back to me and we'll find out, yes, that did happen. This would have been a secret meeting. The Iron Mountain meeting decades ago was a secret meeting. And then eventually somebody put it in a book and a lot of people read it. Oh, that's so interesting. But the ending of the book is about making up an issue that the aliens are invading. But then we do have an actual invasion. Here, remember the invasion, most of it is in the other dimensions. And most of it is in the mind. So you should look at the series that I have on my YouTube channel called Don't Panic, which has to do with this exactly. And is so upsetting that when I showed it to my grandkids and my children, it was only like 7 or 8 minutes long. They said, "You can't put this out." And I said, "Why not?" They said, "Because it's just too upsetting." I said, "Yeah, but it's the truth." And they said, "Yeah, but it's too upsetting. Nobody wants to hear this." What my control said decades ago, they don't want to hear that. The public doesn't want to hear it. They don't want to be bothered. They want to keep themselves busy while they wait to die. They don't want to hear the bad information. Basically, that was what my kids and my grandkids were saying. So what I did was I cut it up into chapters and put it out in separate videos rather than one full things. But you should look at it. It's called Don't Panic on my YouTube channel, Francis Fox Reveals. So we have the information. We have an Iron Mountain type meeting in the Northeast, right next to the epicenter of the earthquake. Okay, so how did you feel? Hopefully good. Hopefully you should reproduce this mantra and keep doing it. And don't wait until there's some kind of economic fallout to all of these changes at a time. Transformations can be ugly. There are always things that fall apart during transformations. We are in a transformation. We're going from one system to another under Trump. Now, they did the same thing in Argentina, and they'll be doing it in other countries because at this point, if you don't make a change, you're going to go down. You have to get in tune with the new energies of this new cycle age of Aquarius, which, if you handle it correctly, you basically end up in the golden age. Okay? So that is it for tonight. And thank you. And sharing would be great. And likes would be great too, so that I can watch the little meter that register it. I can watch it as it does its shenanigans. Okay?